Cool. The boys are readying up. "15 guys, this is a little concerning. However, I understand that no assists, it might be hard to fill the field every week.
We'll be fine. We've got a few guys are out for legitimate reasons, so
Okay,
I'm not too worried
good.
about it.
Oh, that's cool. They let you guys know?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Cool.
Some people actually communicate. Other people just flake and ghost and don't say a word. And those guys will be replaced by the end of next week if they keep it up. Alright, welcome everybody. We are live, Zenith Online Racing. We've been live for a few moments. You got that behind the scenes conversation there. We're doing a sprint weekend in Australia, so we're heading to one-shot qualifying. So guys get one lap. That will form the grid, and then we will do a 10-lap sprint race followed by a 29-lap 50% race. So we're in for a lot of racing action tonight, and hopefully everybody keeps it clean. We're going to be, well, somebody readied up. Did they even put a setup in, honestly? What were you doing?
Wow.
Unbelievable. Do we have to, like... How many times do we got to go over this? Jesus Christ.
So I did want to clarify. So the the one-shot qualifying sets the grid, and then what does the sprint race do?
The sprint race, no, the one shot sets the sprint order, the sprint sets the 50% order.
Oh, okay.
I hope everybody had their setup saved.
Goodness gracious, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Who's racing in tier 1, gets into the lobby and instantaneously hits ready up? Like, what are you doing? I'm sorry, but like, what are you doing? Do you have setups? Do you even, like, what are you doing racing here? Like, I don't even understand how you could be ready that quickly if you have a setup to install. It doesn't even make sense. You guys have pissed me off very early in this broadcast. Please don't do it again.
Loving having you back as an admin.
It's unbelievable. Buzz is saying restart, but I don't know if that... Like, do we have anybody that's just stopped at the back that's not going? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Oh.
You know what? We'll see at the end. We'll see at the end of qualifying if people. Yeah, we got Ginny going around.
All right, Puff nailed that turn, whatever it is, like the last right-hander after the second DRS, and everybody's been complaining about that. It became quite difficult. Looks like Puff nailed it.
Well, Puff doesn't have a lap time, so I'm not entirely sure what happened there.
I just watched him finish. Oh, maybe, you know what? All right. I did not have my track map up, and there was a point in time I thought he might have DQ'd that lap, and I didn't have the map, so it's entirely possible that he did. Unfortunate for him. But he did. That doesn't change anything. He did nail that last right-hander after the second DRS? Brian Scott flexing his muscles. We don't have Packer today, unfortunately. This ought to be interesting because if I remember right, the rest of the pack is pretty tight. And as we look at the gaps right now, that's pretty much the indication I'm seeing.
So RC apparently didn't get his setup in.
Oh no. Oh god, that geez. There's no way for us to figure out who read it up either. you'd have to be a driver sitting on the grid, just sitting there, I would imagine. Because I think that the driver's list is on your right-hand side, and it's got the circle indicator that waiting on them, and you would see the check mark come up with the first person to check in.
Yeah, it used to be like that, but we don't get that anymore, so.
Okay.
I think you'd have to like be a driver to see it. Like us as spectators can't see it anymore. But I'm making an executive decision. We're restarting it. It's only 8:08. Okay. We're gonna restart because that's just absolutely pathetic. I don't even know what are you doing league racing if you can't wait. Literally, you like do you not even 2 fucking seconds? 2 seconds to install a setup. Not even that. You just hit ready to go.
We didn't even get to chat about the race at all. We could not foreshadow the race. We could not discuss the possibilities and what we would be looking for. Just, yeah. And yeah. Yeah, getting back to the readying up. No, you probably missed that. It is the drivers on the track. They would have to be sitting in their car and on the grid, looking, and you would see on the right-hand side, you'd see the list of drivers. They would be the only ones that would be able to see who checked first. But presumably everybody is already in their garage trying to find their setup and their fuel and doing what they need to do. So nobody would... It gets rated up that fast, you're not going to be able to figure out who it is. So hopefully they come forward and apologize. Oh, my bad. I think waiting on... No, maybe not. It's just me and Beck left here. I need to leave the session. Dumbass. And to be realistic here, it seems to me... I don't want to see this. Remind me later. This is the only league I'm a part of, and I cherish it. I try to adhere to all the rules. I respect everybody, especially the admins and the stewards. And maybe a lot of these guys are in different leagues where it becomes maybe nonchalant, where maybe other leagues are a little more loosey-goosey. And I, in that sense, I get that the mistake can be made, but most of those guys are veterans of this league, and they know better.
Yeah, seems like it may have been RC who, oops, my finger slipped type of ready up, because that was so bloody quick. I can't imagine any single person did that on purpose. Like, can you imagine just sitting there spamming X, like, let's go? Like, what are you doing here? You know?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, the guy that didn't have a setup was the one who may have done it. I suppose in retrospect we could say, oh, well, we could have just carried on with everything. But at the same time, we don't know how many people it affected. Some people aren't active in the chat but are racing. So I think it's just better to restart it and just be safe. But
I think RC's earned the oops award, not the oops award, but he does a lot. So, and maybe he did mess up, and I think that's okay.
Yeah, I think he said he pressed the wrong button. Like he was probably trying to cycle through something and maybe hit the wrong. Because if you're on the wheel, like the buttons aren't quite the same, right?
Yeah, you have to be on the grid though. You can't have checked into the setting, going back to the garage to pick your setup and fuel and whatnot. You have to be on the grid and hit X by accident.
Yeah.
And that's entirely possible. And again, RC's been around for a long time, so I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. If in fact we're his era. Nobody else. Not even Puff.
So we're missing 2 drivers, apparently.
Okay.
Oh, Beck and RC we're missing.
Becca's now in here. I really like RC's new format for standings, driver standings.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was RC that set that up or if it was the Gunner
No,
Will.
Gunner Will did, but let me look at that. I really thought RC had changed it up. Yeah, I think he did because RC's was the backdrop was white,
Yeah.
and Gunner Will was black. But anyhow, either way, I really like that format where, as you know, a tier driver, you can look and see your progress, see what you did, where maybe you need to improve, what track, what not. I thought that was great. Asylum says we're good now, LOL. Oh, and you already responded.
I have no patience for it, my friend. I have no patience for it. I scrambled home, showered as quick as I could, jammed some dinner into me, sat down ready to go, and as soon as we load in, someone hits ready. I was like, you mother... Just about snapped. If everybody can go back and watch the beginning of the stream, watch me just lose my damn mind about it.
Well, looks
surprised
like
if someone
everything.
starts clipping audio bites of it.
What
What the hell are you even doing here?
I would approve of that.
Yeah.
Please,
It'll
post
probably
it in
happen. Someone will do it.
Post it in the general chat so that everybody can see it and everybody becomes aware what not to do.
How often have you heard me lose it like that on a stream, though? Like, it's pretty... That's got to be one in 100, you know?
Yeah, that was the longest unhappiness stream I've been a part of with you.
Mm-hmm. It was just extremely frustrating, you know? Extremely frustrating.
I mean, it's a very simple thing, and understandably, accidents happen. But most of these guys, again, you know, it's frustrating. So it's just frustrating, and glad we got it. You know, I was going to not suggest, but I was going to ask: do we start over just to let RC get a setup? And thankfully, it was done. So cool.
Oh, Fuzz is in the chat already saying he's going to clip the whole stream, so I guess when you step down as admin, you got plenty of time to do crap like that, eh?
Yeah. Who's Fuzz, anyways?
It's just some
I never
guy.
heard of that guy. Just,
Never did a damn thing. Never lifted a finger around here.
No. I seen a lot of comments in the Discord, but I've never really seen anything on track from him.
I've seen him spin a few times in formation laps, safety car, stuff like that.
You know, he does definitely, all kidding aside, definitely does add a lot to the Discord.
Oh, looks like we got a wet sprint now. That's good news.
Ooh. So, are we skipping the one-shot quali?
No, we are doing one-shot quali again because we don't know
Okay.
if anybody actually... I don't know how many people had setup issues or weren't prepared or anything. And I mean, the guys that had issues and spun, this is your chance to redeem yourself. Jinnit?
Yep.
Puff?
Yeah, Puff. Trying to recall here exactly where it was. I think it was. I tried to print up a map of the new layout to get the corners numbers correctly, but just as you hit the chicane that they removed, as you're coming around there, your top speed, and you got a sharp left, sharp right. I think he went a little deep on the right, off track, just a tiny bit, and that's where he invalidated his lap.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, he went on. It looked to me like he nailed that.
All right,
next
so
turn.
So Brian was on pole provisioning. Let's check in with Brian. Let's see if we can get on board with him. See how his lap looks. I'd presume everybody be on the softs. I don't know why you wouldn't be. So I know the order does sort of change as the laps go on. But yeah, you can only really watch one guy at a time. So, and jumping around during one-shot quali is very slow. So
yeah, it doesn't. It's not instantaneous.
Nah, I figured
everybody is on the softs. And if the way that Brian Scott is jumping up and down on the leaderboard here is any indication of where you actually are in relation to all the other qualifying drivers, Puff is sitting at the top and he hasn't moved.
Nah, I've noticed that. Brian's slowly climbing the order, but Puff is on top currently. He's just lost it to T-Money and RC's in the mix too. Brian Scott looking like a P8 now though. And that would be pretty frustrating, I think, for him after putting it on pole in the first run. See how that final turn goes for Brian. Very good exit for him. He's gaining. We'll see what the final times are. T-Money, Puff, Sam, Zamagos, Adri,
T-Money.
T-Money takes pole.
Way to go.
Look at the difference there. Puff Digital by 200ths. Just off T-Money. And Puff is very good in the rain. If it's a wet sprint, you could see Puff starting on the front for the actual race. And apologies to Brian. I feel bad. He lost that first place start on the reset. Unfortunately, it's hard for us to know making these decisions, like who was impacted, who was the cause of the issue. It's hard for us to make those decisions. I think sometimes it's better just to wipe the slate clean and do it again. It's as frustrating as it is.
It's inevitable. Some guys were going to benefit, some guys were going to lose. Unfortunate, for sure. So, Team Money, way to go. Team Money, Puff, Sam, Zem, Adri, Brian, Saye still, I guess, learning how to drive without the assists. Mr. Joshua in P8, Beck 9, Rockstar 10. Sorry I didn't get to the others. But I'm really excited to see that Team Money was able to put himself up there, because Team Money has always been fast. Shit happens, and it affects his race. Because he doesn't always have the... Oh boy, it is raining. He doesn't always have the best qualifying. So he gets in the middle of the pack or towards the back of the pack, and then, as we all know, stuff happens. So glad to see he's up front to start this sprint. T-Money and Puff Digital, two longtime members of ZOR.
Yeah.
Puff has been around since... Puff has been around since day one, right?
Puff? Yeah, me and Puff started the league together, so he's day one. Day one. There's a few guys that have been here since pretty much the start. I would say not a whole lot of them left, but a few guys were here in season one.
Sam is one, right? Was Janet?
I remember racing Sam in the second race we ever ran. Me and Sam were fighting for the win.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes, Digital is the George Russell of the grid. He's got those crazy eyes. Alright, 20 seconds till we start the sprint. There shouldn't be a formation lap. And it's going to be a wet sprint, and I guess dry race. No one did mention if it was wet or not for the race session, but I would assume it would have been mentioned with the wet sprint part. And here's to Brian. Hopefully he can get himself back to the front of the field. Obviously feeling a little robbed at this point, but we have 5 lights on. And the sprint in Australia underway. This will decide the grid for our 50% race. Puff with a very good start. It looks like he is into the lead into turn 1. Team Money on the outside. That is not a good place to be in the wet weather. And there's a spin there from Zamagos. Zamagos has spun Brian down in 9th, has lost some ground. Sam is up into 3rd, so Brian going to be really frustrated at this stage, feeling that, feeling a little robbed because of the qualifying session and now having to deal with the traffic further down. But Brian makes a good move there, holding his position. He's holding P9 firmly. He's got Adri in front of him. Adri is a quick driver, so man, it is going to be tough to overtake here in this wet weather.
Yeah, Brian shouldn't give up. As
Sam
makes Say yes.
Say's
nice
through.
Move.
Really nice move. And T-Money, sorry, Sam, fighting
almost,
it back.
I was going to say, I mean, 10 laps in the rain, so nobody should give up at this point, and nobody should rest on their laurels at all. Because we got 10 laps in the rain.
I agree with you there. Brian and Beck scrapping at the back. What's going on there? So Brian under pressure from Beck. Beck really putting the squeeze on, but he goes into the grass. That is not a good place to be trying to find traction. Obviously, he's lost that place now. Brian has also lost a spot to Jinnit there. So, oh man, he's going to be feeling hard done by at this point.
So Puff really showing some good pace here early on. He's already built a second and a quarter.
Yeah, I would think the clear air makes a big difference in the cornering and braking in the wet weather. We don't see a whole lot of spray at the moment, but yeah, Puff definitely starting to build a gap. Asylum picking up a penalty already. And it looks like someone's had an issue. Is it Sam? He's gone right to the back of the order? Is he spun? I didn't notice there was a yellow.
I did not see.
Say is putting some serious pressure on, though. All over T-Money. He's really picked up the no assist thing quite quickly. And it's something I was trying to tell him in the off season was, hey man, like you're bloody quick. Like you take those assists off, you're gonna be fine. And sure enough, look at him go. Second race of the season.
Right now, Adri is ahead of Asylum, Jinnit, Joshua, and Brian Scott. They quite the train. Quite the train. You don't want to make a mistake at the front of this line right here. Look at that.
No. Adri actually made some pretty good progress. He was just ahead of Brian, and now Brian trying to make his way through that order. Was that a mistake there?
Went a little wide.
Yeah. Brian tucking in behind Joshua for a nice run down the straight. So we're on lap 3 of the sprint now. Only 7 more laps to go, and then we'll actually have a full race. The race session should be a little bit better. I think with the way the order's mixed up and with the DRS active, we're going to see some really quality racing in that actual 29-lap race. It's going to be some pretty tough going here with this wet weather.
Yeah, if you look at, P6, P5 back to P11, I mean, they're all within DRS of each other.
Yeah. And,
a simple mistake, and you might be in trouble because you won't be able to come back.
Looks like CA has had a big error because Rockstar's through now, and Adri is right on him. Going to the outside. This is going to be a very interesting move. CA covers it nicely, but Adri down the inside. That was a very ballsy move. I did not think that was going to end well. I love Adri's Alonso helmet. She's got that Alonso Renault color on there. Yeah, right down the inside for Adri. Job done. CA.
Nice move. Yeah, CA. I wonder if he has some damage because, he's going to be pressured now big time.
I would think it's probably just the tires, given the wet weather. It might be a little harder to get the tire temperatures under control. That's what I would say at this point. We got Brian and Beck going wheel to wheel here again. Looks like Brian going to get the better exit. No, Beck doing much better on the traction out of that corner, but Brian getting a nice slipstream now down the straight. He's going to tuck in on the outside. Going wheel to wheel here. And Brian a little wide there, but I think he's okay. We just probably... Oh, we got someone in the wall. That's RC.
That was... Oh.
Brian doing a nice job defending from back there. Oh! Really clumsy on the throttle on the exit there, and he slammed into Beck. Now Beck got the better traction through this section, and Brian off the track. So Brian is struggling a little bit. I'm not sure if it's the wet weather or maybe just The frustration
a
of
little
everything.
hard.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
like sometimes you get angry and it just invades
just
like
try to
every
do too
aspect of
much.
your. Yeah, exactly. I think he'd do well to take a breath and just kind of chill because I think with the DRS in the race session, he's going to be in a much better place to actually make some moves. So.
And, 29 lap race coming up, so
There's a long
he's
way to go
obviously
tonight.
got the pace. Yeah. But nice to see
Brian
these
is
two
off again.
McLarens. Oh no.
Yeah. So
these
he
two
is struggling here.
McLarens are pressuring Asylum big time. Asylum doing a great job, keeping his wits about himself with these guys right on his ass.
Yeah. We're going to check the penalty situation. Asylum has 6 seconds. Sam with 9 already. That is a lot of penalties for a sprint race. And T-Money's had an issue? Or is Rockstar just making moves here? Yeah, T-Money racing with Rockstar here. Yeah, I thought T-Money maybe had an issue, but we've lost our intervals to the leader. You know what? T-Money, I think, did have an issue because we're now 3.8 behind Puff, so T-Money must have had an error. And they're still side by side. Very tricky stuff. Rockstar super consistent. Made up a few places from people making mistakes in front of them. Puff has a nice gap now, 4 seconds out in front. Obviously, that won't matter when they take the grid for the actual race session, but I think Puff will take some comfort in that if he does get a good start, he could gap these guys.
Yep, absolutely. These guys aren't slow.
No.
Puff showed it in the one-shot quality that he knew what he was doing on this track.
Yeah.
And it's showing here in the sprint race, too.
It's unfortunate because Puff actually was at the back of the field after the original qualifying we ran.
Yeah,
Brian was at the front, and now it seems like their fates have been reversed. But Adri, I think Puff is going to be concerned about Adri carving through the field here. You'll probably see him on his interval chart in the upper left corner. Adri just coming into view now, closing on T-Money. He's going to be a serious threat to Puff in the actual race session. I'm not sure how Rockstar and T-Money will do in the dry race pace, but obviously they were quick enough to start out front in the qualifying. Again, one-shot quali is a little tough. Like, you do, one little mistake and it was your only hope, so it can be very punishing, but it was tough. It was tough making these decisions in the off-season. Like, how are we going to run these sprint weekends? We thought, you know what? We give everybody one shot at it. At least everybody had an equal chance, and there's no preference or priority, and we don't have to set a grid. We don't have to, because if you go by championship order or something like that, or reverse championship order, it's always kind of be the same kind of throughout the season. So I figured the one shot at least allows people to control their own fate to some extent, right? Here comes Say, though, putting some pressure on Adri.
Yeah.
Say is, he's had every race we've watched him so far this season. He's had a few little mistakes, but he manages to get under control and recover nicely. So good on him, hanging in that top 5, carrying good pace, racing nicely.
Oh, he went around as you.
He did.
That's all right. Did not reset the track.
No, he's done it right.
Great job, Say.
He does. He wanted me to comment on his helmet, and I'll take a look at it now if we get a chance. We got another car, yellow flag. Where is that? Is that just for Say recovering?
I don't.
Yeah, Say's helmet. Yeah, he's got that Williams. He's got the Williams colors integrated in his helmet. It's a lot of blue in there, looking really nice. But yeah, it's Say's still 11th, but again, like we said, there's still a whole race session to go. There's plenty of opportunity to make up places once it's dry and we get the DRS in. Adri going around the outside on T-Money. They're saving...
hang on, boys.
Saving some space for one another, but there's not much through there.
No, I think that was a smart move by T-Money to just... He really couldn't fight that too much. Adri had the position, so he tucked himself right in behind him, didn't fight him too hard. Compromise his own momentum, race pace, and now he's being pressured by his teammate.
Yeah, look at this. A few cars very close to one another in a very tricky part of the track.
I thought that Asylum lost it.
He's hanging on. We've got Jinnit pressuring him now. Jinnit with a penalty, though.
Right there.
Jinnit's going to send that. He's not thinking twice. and it's left plenty of room. Asylum did a nice job getting on the traction, but Jinnet's gone through. Jinnet does need to make up some ground now with that penalty he's carrying. He's going to... Actually, I guess behind is not too bad. There goes... Yeah, T-Money super deep. Very deep. And
Careful.
On the curb on the exit, that's not a great place to be either. So Jinnet snuck through. And now Puff is... Puff's going to be very concerned for the race session. He's got Rockstar, Adri, and Jinnet starting directly behind him now.
So, I mean...
Will. We got Gunner Will in the chat there asking about qualifying position. I think you put their one-shot quali in because the sprint race we are awarding points, right? So I think we're going to count that differently than qualifying. It does set the grid, but it isn't technically qualifying. So the top 8 get points, and it'll be 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Razor right now getting a point, which is good for him. I think he just missed the points last week, but if he can snag a point in the sprint, I think he'd be happy with that, and then he's in a pretty good place to score again during the actual race. Puff's going to pick up 8 points, and Rockstar was 7, and 6, 5, 4, so on down to P8. Let's get back to T-Money though, putting some pressure on Asylum.
Asylum just actually made the pass on him.
Oh, did he, sir?
And I was hoping that they were chatting with each other because it was getting kind of contentious there. They were side by side. Teammates, you don't want to be compromising each other's race. So I think I think T-Money probably let Asylum go by.
Well, the thing is, T-Money's going to get him on the penalties anyway, so it's probably better if Asylum stays in front. Then he can work on running in clear air and try and getting a gap to the cars behind, because right now Asylum is slightly at risk of being jumped by Razor. He might not even get a point here. And he does need to make up a few tenths here to kind of make himself safe. So
great point. Yeah, and there's no sense in really being fighting your teammate too hard. If the guy behind you, if your teammate behind you is fast enough to be challenging you like that, I think you need to let him by. So Zamoglis is starting to pressure Quaminator back in P10 and 11. That's pretty much the closest battle other than Josh and T-Money. But Zamoglis unfortunately couldn't make a lot of the races last season. Hopefully he can make a lot of them this season, or all of them for that matter.
Razor has been passed by Say, so probably out of the points now. May have made a mistake because I don't think Say was that close that he should be that far ahead already. So Zamoglis,
Now Quaminator, impressive. He was racing Tier 3 last season. So here he is in Tier 1 with no assist except for the line. And holding his own. Yeah,
and I mean, I think that we saw that last week, that the no assist thing actually did bring the field pretty close together. I guess we got to see like a good amount of solid racing there.
Silent got another penalty. Probably just pressing a little too hard, I think.
Yeah, now Razor might be in place for a point.
Yeah,
do the quick math. He's just barely outside the range. If Asylum loses any ground, he could be out of the points here.
Yeah, Asylum's 9 seconds. Sam 9 seconds. Jinnet with only 3. Not bad. Only 3 drivers in the rain with penalties.
We got Andri and Jinnet now starting to close on Rockstar. And it looks like Puff is going to win the sprint race here. So Puff started second. T-Money was on pole, and Puff got a better start. Took the lead into turn 1. Gets the win for the sprint. Rockstar is going to start second for the race. Andri will start third. Jinnet's fourth. Asylum is currently fifth, but obviously going to lose a lot with 9 seconds of penalties. Drops down to seventh for the time being. We got T-Money fifth, Joshua sixth, Asylum seventh. Is Say gonna get him? Say no, does not get Asylum by a 10th. So Say will start 8th, and Razor has missed out on points again. Very close, but I'm sure he's feeling pretty. He's got to be feeling somewhat confident, knowing that he's not close 2 races in a row.
Yeah, but I mean, this is his first season with us, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. He just joined in the off season and jumped right into no assists with us. So really good showing so far.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Puff. You got a win.
Yep, that's a win.
It's not worth.
It goes down as a dub.
25 points. But
goes down as a dub. All right, I'm gonna run to the washroom quick, refill my wine, and then we'll get this race going. I mean, my juice, not my wine.
Yeah. Your energy drink. I thought that was a race right there. Unfortunate for RC. Who else? Brian. They spun, pushed them down the order. However, you know, the race is a completely different animal. So Puff gets 8 points. Rockstar gets 7 for P2. P3, Adri gets 6. Janet, P4, gets 5. T-Money, P5, gets 4. Josh in 6th gets 3. Asylum in 7th gets 2. And Saye in 8th gets 1. So, congrats to those guys.
Yeah, good. It was a good little sprint race. I wish it was dry. When we were thinking about making Australia sprint, I was thinking with that new section, that very very long straight there. You know, they've kind of straightened it out a bit. There's no
The chicane.
Yeah, there's no chicane there anymore. So I was thinking that would be really good for a sprint. You know, bringing guys really close together into a tricky corner. And unfortunately, it was wet weather, so that wasn't great. But it is dry for the race.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: so after having essentially tiptoe your way through the geez, I'm crumbling. That not the sprint race. Come on, GP. So they had to be very careful, obviously, you know, on throttle, whatnot, wet conditions. Now you're going to be looks like dry conditions.
Yeah.
A lot of these, I mean, this is almost euphoric, where you can really go. You know your car, you know your handling, you know how to take these turns. Because I think most of the guys, if they're going to be practicing this, they practice it. 80% in the dry, and then if they have extra time, they might practice a little bit in the wets. But
right. All right, we got 23 seconds till race time. We are going to go racing. No formation lap. We're just going to see the lights, and we're going to race. And we got 29 laps around Albert Park in Melbourne. And Puff is starting at the front, and he's got some serious competition on his heels. So we'll see if Puff can convert the sprint win into a race win. And we'll see what the other guys can do from behind. Hopefully some of those guys around the back of the field can get some overtakes done and move up. We are going racing. 3, 4, 5 lights are on. And it's go. Very slippery start for Puff. He's under serious pressure here from Rockstar.
Oh! We get a Mercedes, Zamoglis, and Brian Scott, I think, got into it.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Puff, I think, ran a little wide there, but he maintained the lead in the start. He's not going to give that up, I'll tell you that much. So even if that ended up being a penalty, I think he would just take that and just run with it. Because what he's going to hope is these guys behind are squabbling. And we have a safety car? There's a VSC. I think it's just a VSC.
Now,
do we have some damage here? No.
No.
Why are we going so slow? Oh, you know what? T-Money has lost his entire front wing. And that's probably why we have a VSC. Just for them to clean up the debris. So that's pretty legitimate. We'll give them that.
Now, these tires, without the formation lap, they are cold. They like to be like 208, 210 degrees Fahrenheit-ish.
Can you say that in actual number terms? Because no one knows what those numbers mean. Celsius?
Temperature. Yeah. Fahrenheit. Did I say Fahrenheit?
Yeah, you said Fahrenheit.
I thought I did.
I was just
Okay.
saying, like, most people
Oh
don't
yeah.
know what Fahrenheit is.
F you. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what the Celsius temperatures are.
I
Anyhow,
recall it being around 100 Celsius, roughly.
yeah. So if
90
my
to
memory
100.
serves me correct. Oh, geez, T Money could not make that turn. But I mean, the
All right,
tide
we're
temps
racing again.
were like at 160, so 170 degrees. You at the start, you need to
Yeah,
really be careful.
absolutely. All right, let's check out our battles here. We got Brian. Brian has started on the softs at the back, and he's a fair ways off the rest of the pack due to that collision there. He would have been hoping that was be a full safety car. Unfortunate for him. It really has just unraveled for Brian. I mean, he did absolutely nothing wrong. He was forced to qualify again, didn't quite get the lap he had put in originally, and then had a bad start, slid down the order, went off the track a couple times, and it just really has gotten away from him. And I can understand that. It's hard to get out of that mentality when you're racing. It's hard to get out of that mindset that, you know, everything's stacked against you. So I feel for him tonight, and, you know, obviously apologies for having to restart and wipe that clean. I do really feel bad because he earned that, and it was taken from him from no fault of his own. So it's unfortunate, but hopefully he can get his head down and get some good racing done. A lot of guys
Long ways
ahead.
to go.
Yeah, a lot of guys ahead are racing very close to one another, and that should bring him back into the mix quite quickly here. Did you see him? He's taken about a second out of the car in front of him already, so. And Puff is going to be under some serious pressure here. He's got Rockstar, Jenna, and Joshua right on his tail. He needs to get out of that DRS.
Yeah. Everybody started on the mediums, the exception being Josh, Saye, Beck, and Brian Scott.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the softs. Beck being the exception, he's on the hards. So
Yeah,
everybody
interesting
else
strategy
on the mediums.
there. Not sure how long the hards go, but it would allow him to get at the front of the field and perhaps back everybody up. I don't know if that's a tactic or just a way he preferred to race, maybe, but if there is a safety car or something along those lines, he could end up parked in front of everyone else. It could be an issue if there's a DRS train.
You know, Josh being on the softs, his teammate right in front of him on the mediums. Disadvantage Josh, obviously. If he can't get by his teammate, you know, there goes a big part of his race. And it doesn't seem like he's really able to make any inroads.
Oh,
however,
Rockstar goes deep, and that lets Jinnit and Joshua through. And Adri's right there now, too. Adri sends it.
Oh!
Yeah, I don't know if I like that move. That was a day late and $1 short, but he got it done. I think Rockstar will feel a little hard done by there, but I don't really blame Adri for sending it either.
It didn't look like he really compromised. I mean, he may have surprised Rockstar, but I don't think he pushed Rockstar.
No, he didn't run into him or anything, but I don't think Rockstar would have expected that. And maybe had to cancel his turn and through the apex there. I would think that would have been the worst of it. But I don't blame Adri for doing it. I mean, he's seen an opportunity, the guy's on the back foot, and you just send it and get that move done, right? So.
Yep. Yeah, you have to expect the driver behind you being aggressive.
Absolutely. Anywhere. I mean, we're racing.
So,
we're not running a parade here.
You leave a little bit of a window open, and somebody is likely to take that opportunity and make a go at it. So as the lead driver, if you mess up on a corner going in, you need to be ready. Somebody might be coming to the inside of you.
I was going to say, Puff is definitely feeling the pressure here. We've seen him run wide a couple times, and Jinnit was right on his tail. Puff picked up a penalty there, so 3-second penalty to Puff already. That's not great. Hopefully he can tidy up the track limits a little bit and see if he can gap that. I mean, if he keeps Jinnit behind...
Saye went off in the next to last turn, and it does not appear as though he has any damage. However, he is going to box. I would assume he's going to go to the hards.
I mean, if you're picking up damage that close to the pit lane, you might as well you're going to lose far more lap time. I mean, even if the tires are cooked, you're going to lose lap time. You're better off just to get them changed, I guess. Yeah, go to the hards, go to the end. I think the hards can go 20 laps or whatever.
I think the hards could probably start a race and finish a race. Any one of them.
Yeah. That's fair.
Now, whether that... I mean, I'm sure they could. You might be at 80% on the hards at the end of the race and basically on on ice with dull skates, but...
Yeah. So we'll see how Puff handles this. He's picked up a penalty defending from Jinnit, and I mean, if he ends up managing to gap Jinnit and drop him, that would probably be worth it at the end of the day. But what's going to be the problem is if Puff starts to lose performance, T-Money's out in the pit lane, it looks like. I think he's just given it up in the pit lane. He's just had enough. But if Puff manages to gap Jinnit there and drop him, I would say that's probably worth it, because you're staying in clear air, and you know the problem would be if Puff starts to lose performance on his tires and has some other issues and starts dropping down the order, and now he's also carrying a penalty from defending, then it becomes a big issue, right? So Jinnit sends it very deep. Puff looking for the switchback to try and hang on, but no, Jinnit maintains it.
Beck is making a move, and he has completed the pass on Sam. Yeah, and impressive, because Beck is on the hard, Sam is on the mediums. So
that's good news for Beck.
Keep it going, Beck. No offense, Sam. Beck
Brian's pressuring Razor there, and Razor, I think, just got passed by RC. He might have had an issue because it looked like he was a little bit off the racing line when RC made his way through. So now Joshua's putting some pressure on Puff. These guys are no strangers to one another, old rivals from previous season, fighting for the title. And now here they are in Tier 1 racing at the front once again. Puff not losing ground with Jinnit, though, and that's probably a good thing. I think Puff needs to keep that DRS. If he wants a chance at winning this race, he needs to stay there and put pressure on Jinnit. Try to force some penalties out of him as well.
So we're a ways from a pit stop for the medium tire drivers. Oh, actually, Jinnit has gotten past Puff. What happened? I didn't see.
It was an overtake into this corner right here.
Overtake?
Yeah, right into this corner.
Right,
he got him on the brakes. Jinnit went very deep, but Puff couldn't really pull off the switchback. Jinnit had good enough traction to maintain it.
So I wish I knew the answer to this. The undercut. You know, how is there an undercut? Can you pull that off? Is it something to consider?
I would think if you're going to either the medium or soft, that fresh tire would be a much better tire than any of these worn ones. If you look at Puff, actually, just to point this out, Joshua is on the soft tires. So
yeah.
He's kind of on the wrong strategy for everyone around him, because these guys, I would think, are going to end up on the softs at the end of the race.
Josh needs a safety car. Full safety car, and then he'll probably be smiling.
Well, absolutely, because he would be going to the end on the mediums. But if there's a full safety car, the guys on mediums are in big trouble because they have a very tough decision to make.
Oh, we have a spin. That is Rockstar. Rockstar spun coming out of the last turn.
Jeez, he was having a really good night so far. It's unfortunate that he slid down the order and had an issue tonight. Brian, I'm wondering if the softs are starting to fall off, because Brian is struggling to get by Razor.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't run any laps here. I couldn't, you know. Maybe I should be doing my homework as a commentator, right?
There's no time. There's no time for that.
No, there isn't.
Showing up every week is enough of a commitment.
Season 9, I'll have more info.
All right. Fuzz pointing out 3 champions in the top 3, and that's a full safety car. That is a full safety car. That Sabagas has crashed out, and I have to say, as rough as Brian's night has been, this is what he needed. This is going to allow him to put the mediums on and go to the end of the Grand Prix.
Yep.
The medium runners have a very, very tough decision to make here.
What do you do? What do you do? Do you go to the hards?
I think the risk of a safety
Sheesh.
car is pretty high here. I would think some of them might even stay out, especially Puff and Jinnit out front. Why not? Why not just stay out and get into some clear air? Puff stays out. Joshua
Jinnit
pits.
goes in.
No, Puff did pit, actually. very
Josh, top
late.
3, top 4, top 5, top 6. Sam, top 7. So it looks like pretty much everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The whole field is pit.
Follow the leader.
This is good news for Say. He needed a break.
So Jennet's on the... Everybody
Oh!
went to the hards.
Is that Adri spinning out of the pit lane? Adri's lost the car coming out of the pits, and he's crossed the line. That's going to be a penalty as well.
Oh, drive through for Beck.
Well, he stayed out, and he's got speeding. But Adri spun the car, which has also led to him crossing the pit lane exit line. And that's something we discussed pre-season, is that we're calling that as a penalty. The game doesn't apply a penalty for it, but
oh, okay.
We intended to apply penalties for people that cross that line going in and out of the pits. So if there is evidence...
Okay, all right. You're going to answer my question right now.
Well, if there's evidence provided that someone has crossed the line going in or out of the pit lane, like you're supposed to enter the pit lane and not cross over the line to do it, right? Everybody's gone to the hard tire. Okay. Was the medium to hard the strategy all along? Was that what everyone was thinking?
I don't know. Brian's on the mediums. Look for Brian to make some inroads here. Say is on the softs, but he's still in the pit. Yeah, he's on the softs. Say, there's no way, unfortunately, that Say can take those to the end. However, like you said,
I wonder if he's just getting the tire change thing done. No, because he already changed them to hards.
Well, he's in last. You know what? He can maybe at the end of this lap come back in and put the mediums back on and go to the end.
That's possible, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be 20. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he probably just has another set of softs. And I mean, if you do the softs now and there's a safety car, I hope he's not trying to serve his drive-through. He does know he can't serve it under the safety car, right?
So Beck is in the pits. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, he's boxing. No wing change. Tire change to the mediums.
I think what he's thinking is, I'm going to be at the back when I serve my drive-thru anyway. I need a better set of tires, not the hards. Oh, we've got another spinner. Is that Razor who's lost it? Jesus.
How?
Oh, he got disqualified!
Oh.
For blocking the pit lane exit. He didn't get it turned around quick enough.
That sucks.
That is a very unfortunate way to end the night.
You said Raise. Okay, yeah, and Zamoglis DNF'd as well.
Yeah, Zamoglis caused the safety car.
Okay. Yeah.
Adri spun coming out of the pit exit. It looks like Razor did the same thing. And he's actually been disqualified because it took him too long to get his car moved.
Ooh. Yeah, so Say did come back in and go to the hards and nearly crossed the line. Those tires are like rocks. Or, again, for me, it's like dull skates on ice.
Oh, Joshua has dropped.
Oh, no.
I was going to say, I just saw a ghost car moving around, like a desync issue here. And it looks like Joshua's dropped. He's going to be very thankful that Say pit again, because I think that's going to allow him to get back in before the race restarts.
I was going to say, watching Say come out of the pits, and it was slippery. It was very slippery for him, and it almost cost him crossing the white line. He didn't, from what I could see anyways. However, those tires, they don't warm up fast, and they are slippery. The good thing for him is he's got to make up 25 seconds, so he can really push those tires now and warm them up.
Zamoglis is in the chat saying that Beck was off track. I passed him. It said I did an illegal overtake, and I let him pass, and then he lets me pass, and he keeps saying illegal overtake.
That sucks.
Is that what? Is that why he crashed? Is he trying to sort that out, and then there was an issue and ended up crashed out?
I
Maybe
don't know,
that's what
but
he's.
say he spun around coming out of the last
Definitely,
turn.
Zamagos, put a clip of that in the Discord for us. So we just want to take a look at that, even if nothing comes of it, just so we kind of know. Like any weird issues with this game like this, we kind of want to make sure that we're aware of them. I know some people have been saying there's a bug with the safety car. Something weird goes on, and I really, really hope we don't have to turn the safety car off. As cumbersome and slow as it is, I do think it's kind of an important strategic factor to racing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and taking it off, I think, would just not be great. But I think the safety car should be in now. Should see the lights turn off as they make their way through the chicane here.
Yeah, say he's catching up fairly quickly here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his tires ought to be pretty close to temp now. Maybe, well, a lot closer than they would be had he not been able to race around here. And in fact, spinning out probably helped him bring up the temperature.
Right. All right, it looks like we are going racing again. So Jinnet's going to take the lead of the field here. Can't get going too soon because the safety car needs to be in the pit lane before they get anywhere near it. Puff really trying to get these tires warmed up. And,
so I'd like to bring up at this point right now, where we're getting ready to restart under safety car, how important it is to not pass somebody, even accidentally.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really messes things up.
Yeah, so Puff very hesitant on the restart there. Jinnet got a nice jump on him. He's already pulled a second gap. And he's going to have Joshua for company. And Asylum tucked in just behind. So how's this worked out for Brian? Brian got the medium tire on. And he's P9 now. He's going to be able to make some moves on that tire, I feel. Yeah, but he does need to get them to go 17 laps. And I'm not 100% certain that he's going to get the mediums 20 laps. If he does, and he ends up in the top 5, it's a hell of a drive.
Yeah, I think at this point he needs to focus on where he thinks he can get with these tires if he had to go to the end without safety car.
Right.
And then accept that, and then playing the strategy if, for some reason, if the safety car comes out.
I'm gonna say that there probably will be another safety car. We've got a few usual suspects in the field that could be a cause. And that could pay off for Brian, because if Brian can make up some positions now and then is able to pit and get onto the same tires as everyone else at the end, then he's heads up racing again, right? So right now he's disadvantaged with having tires that are going to fall off. He'll have quicker tires for now, but they will be falling off towards the end of the Grand Prix. Something he needs to think about. I'm sure it's going to factor into his aggression when he does make moves. He really can't afford to be conservative. He's definitely going to want to make these moves stick if he does get an attempt. So,
top 8 positions are all on hard tires, all the same age tires. So top 8 drivers, same tire.
Let's see if Brian can get a move done here. He's putting some pressure on Rockstar, and those medium tires working nicely for Brian. He should be able to get him on the brakes, and he does. Excellent job on the brakes there. Perfect control, gets the move done. Nice overtake from Brian. Let's get back to the front. We'll keep an eye on Brian's Delta to the cars in front of him. See how he does making his way through the field. And there's Jinnet's penalty. So now, Puff and Jinnet racing head. And Jinnet has been known to pick up a penalty or two. So Puff will be licking his lips seeing that.
Yeah, but Jinnet has done an incredible job. From my point of view, when I first came into the league, Jinnet seemed to be he'd accumulate a lot of penalties, and then like 3 seasons ago, he just really clamped down on that, and that's pretty much a thing of the past. So
gorgeous racing there from Adri and Quaminator. Quaminator on the curbing, keeping 2 tires on the track. Adri left plenty of room there, and as they approached the next corner, Adri sort of shoved his car over a little bit, kind of like, hey, come on, get out of my way, I need to get through here. And there goes Brian! How did he get up to P6 so quickly?
He's on the medium tires.
He must have got he must have got two. Well, he must have got 2 cars on that last lap because he's already caught up to Adri now.
Well, we already know
didn't
that
he
he
just
has
pass
tremendous
Rockstar?
pace.
So he got Sam and Quaminator in 1 lap, and there he is. Yeah, he's right in the mix now. He's chasing down that top 5, and if there is another safety car, I mean, Brian. I don't think all the guys on hards are gonna not pit. I mean, most of them will. There might be a guy or two at the front that decides to stick it out, but they're going to be severely disadvantaged if there's a safety car. So it's a very interesting strategy choice. It's working out for Brian at the moment.
Yeah, key, safety car. If there is another safety car, what do these hard tire drivers do?
Yeah.
Do they box? Depending on, how many laps are left, when it occurs. If there's 5 laps left, 4 laps left, maybe you stay out. What the anticipated restart? 5 laps left, 4 laps left. Mm-hmm. You might stay out. However, more than that, maybe you go back to the medium. Actually, you could go back to the softs at that point. If there's a safety car at lap 20, I would think that everybody would come in for the softs.
Yeah, I would think so.
I would think. Anything before or after that, that's where it becomes kind of dicey.
So really nice battle forming here. Puff is he's just tiptoeing that line. He's almost dropped Joshua a couple times. Joshua kind of reels him back in. So Joshua keeping that DRS at the moment, but then he's got Asylum, Adri, Brian tucked in behind, putting some pressure on. So there's really quite a train forming here, and Puff the only one without DRS. He's going to have to work pretty hard to keep these guys behind.
So Sam back in P8 is, making I don't want to say making a good comeback, but I mean, he started back in the field, and he's starting to pressure Quaminator.
Yeah, Sam definitely has done a great job recovering. He had a really rough start. Now looking at a nice helping of points, and you would think with Quaminator's penalty and Sam's pace versus Quaminator's pace, I think Sam might have a good shot at getting that place. And then it's a matter of if he can get the gap to the cars in front closed up. So Brian Scott.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Brian Scott putting some pressure on Adri here. And really, this is killing Brian's tires at this stage. He's got those medium tires on, but he can't really use them because he's got 4 cars in front of him with DRS.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him, for sure. He'd easily pass anybody in front of him if they didn't have the DRS.
I think so, yeah. I mean, he's almost pulled it off a couple times with the DRS in front.
Even on equal tires, for the most part, a lot of these, he's exceedingly fast. So, what I was going to say is that something that really doesn't ever get mentioned is the mental aspect of this. And
absolutely.
You have to have that never say die. You never know what's going to happen. It could be, you need to stay focused on staying in the race. Yeah, maybe you finish last, so what? However, you'd hate to lax and not care anymore and miss the opportunity to gain 4 or 5 positions.
Yeah.
So, and I say that for Sam and a lot of these other drivers.
Has had an issue, as you say that.
Yeah. Sorry, Sam. Actually, I said it only after he had it. But anyhow, I mean, for me, it's like you need to keep that focus. And we only race once a week. So make the most of it. Even if you have issues or whatnot.
So Joshua dangerously close to losing his DRS advantage. Oh, and he's dropped again. So Joshua's having some problems with his connection this season. This is 2 races in a row he's had these desync issues dropping out. So I was going to say, this is great news for Puff because these guys are going to struggle behind the ghosted car.
Yep, there he goes. He's already lost 2 spots.
Yeah,
going to lose 3 rather quickly.
That's so unfortunate because he was doing a hell of a job keeping Puff under pressure, keeping the guys behind him, and now he's lost it because of something beyond his control. That's really, really unfortunate. Asylum is now he's just outside the DRS range, so this might be Puff's chance to bridge that 3-second gap. He really needs to get the hammer down and pull away here. I do think Asylum is going to be under serious pressure. The DRS was helping him, but Adri and Brian are going to give him hell now. So
yeah,
this is
I think
Puff's
Asylum
chance to
is
put the
looking
hammer
back.
down.
Asylum is looking backwards, not forward right now.
Yeah. To be fair, though, Asylum's having a hell of a drive tonight. He's doing a really good job.
Oh,
he's in a podium spot currently. Even before that was P4, and he's, putting pressure on Josh, handling the pressure from behind, doing a nice job. So good to see. Joshua has got back in the car. He'll have lost the places, but at least he's close enough to close back in and fight again. So this is really Puff's time to get the hammer down. Is right now. He needs to build this gap. And it looks like Asylum just starting to lose touch a bit, so that'll be a welcome sight.
Basically off the record, it would be nice to know how many drivers in this league are hardwired and how many are driving Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Joshua, I don't recall ever having connection issues in the past. I thought he was pretty reliable. He used to host our sessions quite often, so...
Yep. So
really
again,
sure.
I mean, it'd be nice to know, and maybe we can then say, okay, it is the Wi-Fi guys that really have this issue. It's hardly, if ever, hardwired guys, or maybe it becomes a little clearer that it's actually pretty random.
Asylum's straight line speed is pretty fantastic. Adri seems to lose touch with him. So Puff picks up another penalty. Not good news for him. Adri's now picked up a penalty.
Good news for Asylum. And Brian Scott, look at him. He's right there.
Brian Scott is right there and doesn't have penalties either. So Puff carrying 6 seconds in penalties, that's going to put him... Jeez, I mean, that'll put him down in 9th.
Yeah, I don't know how well Brian can preserve his tires. I don't know if he's been managing them at all. I would doubt it. I think he's probably been on a mission since the start of this race.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Fuzz's comment. He's like...
Okay.
He's like, just say Beck. Beck trying to be coy and saying usual suspects in terms of causing a safety car.
Shame on you, Fuzz.
It's a new season, new back, man. And Brian having a serious look at Adri there. Brian is starting to really hound Adri, so... Oh, no!
And he hit him!
He's run into him!
Oh, yeah, give that back. He's not going to be able to. Really,
he can't. I mean,
Brian.
the penalty he's going to pick up from that. He's better off to just keep racing. He'd have lost 3 spots giving that back. That's a, what do you say? He didn't do anything. He didn't mean. Yeah, of course it'll be stewarded for sure. Adri.
Yeah, it was not an overly aggressive move.
It just was bad luck.
Missed his breaking point.
He was trying to stay as close as he could, and Adri probably lifted early to get a better exit, and it just. Sometimes things like that happen, but that's super. Oh no, that's Quaminator gone round.
And is that going to be a full safety car? Nope. He should be okay.
Yeah, no, he didn't crash. He just spun the car, so he should be okay. So Asylum and Brian now. Brian would have picked up damage, I would think, from that collision. He's probably going to have to pit now. Surely picked up a little bit of damage at least. Yeah, his wing looks okay.
It didn't seem like the contact was like pretty much straight on. It wasn't sideways or...
Oh, is that Puff? Oh my goodness,
yes,
Puff has lost it and he's destroyed his wing. Unbelievable.
But that's not the commentator's curse.
We weren't even looking at him.
Nope.
Asylum now. Don't look now, but Asylum is only 3 seconds off a race win.
Hey, my fellow New Englander, I guess in part I have to kind of be somewhat biased and root for him. However, I will not voice that other than what I just said.
Yeah. Puff picked up 5 seconds also going into the pit lane, so
Jennett with right now, if things go green the rest of the way, Jennett, I think that's what Jennett wants, and pretty
Of
much
course, yeah.
probably everybody in the top 3 anyways. Yeah, and even Josh, I mean, I think Josh should probably rather try to fight his way back and get that position rather than pit onto safety car and then deal with everybody being on fresh tires. Because he's got a 4-second lead over Adri, so really he just needs to nurse his way through.
Yeah, no, I think anybody on hards at this point is just kind of hoping for... They're just kind of hoping for green to the end here. Unless you're way at the back and you want to get some cheeky points back, but... yeah.
Seiya is making some inroads on
He is.
RC here.
RC is just inside Rockstar's DRS range as well, so we got a nice little scrap forming here for P6. And, oh, Adri's lost it. Adri's had another moment here. He's lost a big piece of his end plate as well.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really just unraveled for him since that collision, so... Quaminator going to make a move around the outside. Yeah, I don't think Adri's... Oh, Adri!
Oh!
Why on earth were you putting it in the inside there?
Oh,
I mean... There's just
Brian
no reason
Scott
for that. He's just lost his end plate. His tires are overheated. Quaminator's making his way through it. Like...
You don't want to affect somebody else's race after your car has been damaged.
We've just gone over the penalty system many times, and there's really no room for error this season. I mean, he's just picked up a couple points on penalties now that he didn't need to pick up because he probably was going to lose that place in the next corner anyways.
Would he have fought his teammate like that? Would he have? Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. There, you know, he has damage. There's no reason for him to be fighting like that. I admire the fighting spirit. However,
yeah, it's just
not
logical.
Doesn't make sense.
I mean, well, here, let's just take a couple steps back here and think back to what we were talking about earlier, the mental aspect. So Adri's been run into, spun around. He's now just made an error, broken his wing at the start of the lap. You know, he's obviously things are unraveling and he's feeling the cards are stacked against him, and you know, it's just one of those situations I think where it's probably the frustration and anger that makes that decision. It's not logical racing. It never made sense and never will. But when you're in that cockpit fuming, it's sometimes you don't think those things through, right? So that's probably where his head's at. I don't think it's unfair to you know, suspect that. You can see. Yeah. I don't think. I mean, he's been racing super clean the whole season so far. There's no reason to think that it's you know, it's not. It's unusual behavior. Let's put it that way.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly. I don't mean to imply that, you know, that's something that he does all the time. No, I get the frustration, and I totally understand. And keeping your wits about yourself and just recognizing, all right, you know, like.
Yeah. It was a quick turnaround. It's literally like, you know, 4 or 5 seconds of racing later. Now you've got a car overtaking you, and I can understand the desire to try and defend that place. But yeah, I mean, in hindsight, you look at that and go, man, that was dumb. I shouldn't have done that, because he's going to get a penalty now, and he didn't need to, and he's got the same result at the end of it, right? So
Brian Scott was in P3, and he has now boxed for the softs. So he's given up quite a bit of track position here with 6 laps left to go.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. I really thought that he might try to fight that to the end. Of course, you know, tire wear. I mean, maybe his tires were at 70%. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I think Fuzz made a good point, though. He said he probably didn't slow down enough because of the damage. Like, he was, you know, on that inside. He definitely wasn't he definitely wasn't keeping that place. So, you know, it begs the question, why even be on the inside line? But at the same time, like, you kind of have to position your car in a manner that you don't just let a guy drive through you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that. I just, there was a part of me that was thinking like, oh, why are you putting your car there after you've just recovered and now you've
Well,
caused a collision, and whether he meant to or not didn't matter. Obviously, I'm not saying he would never intentionally cause a crash. That's not what I was trying to get at. But I mean, just like, did you honestly think you were going to defend that place after you just broke your wing? Like, no. I mean, it's just, now there's a collision. It's obviously going to lead to a steward report, and it just seemed like a bad decision, simply.
yeah.
Just to put it simply.
Well, I mean, let's consider this. Like, we try to be as fair as we can, describing what we see, and we may be wrong, and they just, the drivers have to understand that we're not trying to call anybody out on anything.
Yeah, exactly.
We just try to describe what we see, whether
that's
we're
our
right
job.
or we're wrong, and we're not. I certainly am not trying to put anybody in jail or
Yeah, of course.
put a penalty on them.
Most guys
Just try to-
understand that. Yeah, most guys understand that. I don't think there's been the odd time where someone's come at me in the chat after, oh, I can't believe you said that. And it's like, oh, come on, man, I'm commentating a race. Like, will you calm down? Like, I'm not. I didn't get in the chat and start tagging you like, hey, you idiot, what are you doing? Like,
it's not an indictment. It's
No.
commentary,
Exactly.
and we're fallible, obviously.
Of course. Do you
Particularly.
think the drivers get in Crofty's DMs after the race and go, "Oh, you didn't understand why I was on the inside there"? Nobody does that. Like, it's just they know it's it's a job. Like, we're commentators. That's what we're doing. We're trying to describe. We're trying to analyze. We're trying to rationalize. Trying to put ourselves in their shoes. What were you thinking? Like, why did you do that? Like. That's part of what we're doing here, presenting the race for everybody. So,
Yeah. We're not calling people out for the joy of calling people out. That's damn sure. At least
I have called people out the odd time. I've seen something I didn't like, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna say it.
But,
I saw what I saw.
But not for joy.
Didn't like it.
Not
for joy.
Yeah, not not
Absolutely
to
not.
make a spectacle of the situation. You call it as you see it. And it might infuriate you or frustrate you or whatnot. But yeah, there's no malice in it.
Yeah. Puff's had another moment. Gone around at the back. And it looks like that's it for Puff. He's got the sprint win. And that looks like the only points he'll be picking up tonight. He's carrying a lot of penalties and currently running P12.
So the
Not a
closest.
great night for Puff.
Nice. So I was just going to say the closest battle on track was Beck and Quaminator teammates, and Quaminator graciously let Beck get by. Beck is on the better tire, and good to see. Nice teamwork.
See, he's made 3 stops and is in 6th place. Yellow. What's that?
Oh, who was that? That was
Is it
was
Joshua?
that Josh? Josh
Yes,
went
it
off
was.
track. Yeah.
Josh has made a big mistake.
Yeah, wow. Oh, man.
A
He's
huge
dropped
mistake.
4 or
He's
5
lost
positions
I mean,
there.
even Brian's gotten ahead of him now. Brian on the soft tires is making some serious headway here. He could end up on the podium here.
Yeah,
He's
he's
got 2 laps
2.5
to do
laps.
it. Let's watch this and see how Brian does. Also going to get the fastest lap times right now. Brian currently has the fastest lap by quite some margin. 19.9 for Brian. And we'll take a look at that at the end of the race. Yeah, Brian has to have a look. He doesn't have much time left.
Yeah, and again, if I'm saying at this point right now, and I'm looking back and I see that I got Brian Scott on 3
see,
lap
he goes
hold.
super deep. And he's basically just handed that position to Brian. Now Brian is going to be in a great spot to challenge for that podium. He's got 2 cars and 2 laps to do it. And man, if you told me at the start of tonight, at the start of this race session, at the start of tonight, if you told me Brian would be on the podium, I'd be like, yeah, of course. Of course he is.
Yeah,
but if you told me at the
he's
start
got
of
a
the
good chance.
50% race that he'd be on the podium, I would have seriously doubted you. And look at the position he's in. And Jinnit has picked up another penalty. That's 6 seconds now. Asylum 9 seconds off the lead. So it's close for Asylum, but he's not quite there. And if I was Asylum, there's really no need to push at this point. You've got monstrous cushions on either side of you. You just bring that home safe.
It home.
You take that 18
Bring it
points.
home. So what I was going to say would say, yeah, you battle Brian with the idea that he's going to get you.
See that late move from Rockstar, looking for a gap there. RC doing everything he can to hang on, and that's given Brian an excellent run down this back straight. This could be it for Brian. His battle for the podium. He's got 1 lap to go down the inside.
Careful, boys. Careful, boys.
Brian on the exit, so cautious.
Careful.
Gets that place. Is it done? Yes, he's got it, I think. Excellent job.
Battle.
Great little battle, yeah. Rockstar was very elbows out there, but nothing dirty. It was all fair. RC's had a very clumsy exit. This could be it for Brian. Into turn 1 on the final lap. Can he get onto the podium? He sends it.
He's going for it.
RC runs very deep. That's definitely gained an advantage. Oh, there goes Rockstar.
Oh, no. But Brian's got him. Brian has him right there.
Yeah, Brian had him. RC ran a little wide. I would say that he'd have gained an advantage there regardless, so he probably should have let Brian go either way. But right now, RC is now fighting for P4.
Oh, Brian.
Both on very old tires. And say, looking at it, RC just slams the door. RC slammed the door on Say there.
Last lap, I get it.
Yeah, you kind of have to, and you just hope you get away with stuff like that, right? So, Joshua getting that place back. Here comes Say. RC harvesting batteries, been fighting tooth and nail to keep this place. Say gets a really good run out of that. Say got a really good run.
He's got DRS. What's he gonna do? Go to the outside?
RC just parks it. RC parked it in the center of the corner. Oh no! But they both had a bad exit. RC hangs on. He's lucky Say had a bad exit too, because that gave him the cushion he needed to bring it home. And he's run wide again. Oh my goodness, Say on the final corner.
He got him. Oh, it's a drag race.
Look at this.
It's a drag
Unbelievable.
race.
What a finish.
Wow.
What a finish. RC loses out by less than a tenth. Unbelievable.
Oh my word. 6,900.
Unbelievable.
Great stuff.
Oh, man.
Great stuff if you're Say, not so great if you're RC, but the racing was awesome.
Oh, that was incredible. What a great finish of the race. And Brian with a hell of a drive. Driver of the day, no doubt. 3rd place. He did 2 stops. He pit to the medium and the soft, and he ended up in 3rd. Say and RC with the battle of the century. RC ran onto the grass in the final turn, and it ruined his exit and allowed Say to get the corner.
So yeah, so I'm looking at the stops here. Say stopped 3 times.
Oof. What a breath after that one.
The timing was pretty good. Well, you know what? I hope that this is the way that the entire Tier 1 season goes. Actually, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3.
Yeah, I mean, that
was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it's super unfortunate for certain people, and things didn't quite work out the way they want. We unfortunately didn't get Jinnit a lot of airtime. Obviously, running out front for most of the race once Puff had his mistake. But yeah, a hell of a drive from Jinnit. Great job. He got that win, and he's back on form. And we got the Tier 1 podium here. Jinnit.
That doesn't look like Jinnit at all.
No. So yeah, Jinnit on the top step. Asylum with a really, really excellent P2 finish. Great job from Asylum. And then P3 for Brian Scott with a hell of a recovery after the start of tonight. I mean, you see the pace he had. I mean, had he gotten anywhere in that top 5 for qualifying or the sprint, I think he'd have won this race or been damn close to it. But it's a nice haul for Jinnit. 5 points in the sprint, 25 in the race. That's 30 points for Jinnit tonight. Asylum picks up 20 total. That's really solid. Rockstar with 15. Let's I'm gonna get these
Say with 13. Adri with 6 and 4 for 10. RC Red Bull, he's got 10 in the race.
So Puff actually got the fastest lap, and he was outside the points. So there you go, Will. I don't think you need to worry about the fastest lap point, because Puff I don't think is going to earn it, even though he had the quickest lap, and he beat out I think he beat out Brian's time by a few tenths there. So
wow, that was a very good race.
That was intense. All right, so let's get these guys in here. GP, it's 9:27. Obviously, that restart hurt us a bit.
I'll be as fast as I can. One question for each guy.
Yep, gotta make it snappy. All right.
Tell us about your race. How's that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you can come up
I
with
need to be a little more.
yeah.
I'd like
Basically,
to get some
you're just
insight.
like, here's the microphone. You just go ahead and talk now. Yeah. Come up with a question. I think what you should do is at pivotal moments of the race, make a quick note. And just go, all right, if this person makes the podium, I want to ask them about this. Sorry, it was Jinnit, Asylum, and Brian Scott, right?
Yes.
There we go. Now, Brian Scott will get to air his grievances on the air now. He's fought for the podium, so he can air his grievances with having to restart the session.
So unfortunately for Janet, I'm going to save him for last. I know he's in Europe, and
I think
sorry,
you can start
Janet.
with Janet. Let him go. Let him go. Let him
All
go
right.
first. Yeah, we'll get him.
All right, I'll
so
start with
he can
Janet.
pack up and head out.
So we got Asylum.
I've got a bit of time.
All right. Go on.
All right,
Go
all
3
right.
to 3-1 then.
Yeah, that's the way I like to do it. So do we have Brian in here? I know we have
not
Janet,
quite yet.
Asylum,
There he is.
and there's
good to go?
Brian. Cool. Brian, congratulations. That was that was quite a sequence of instances. What am I trying to say here? The qualifying obviously backfired on you, and then you had to try to make things up in the sprint race, and that didn't work out, and so you were starting from pretty far back in the race. So what was going through your mind, and then how did you get through it and get to where you are here on the podium?
Oh man, yeah. Going through my head, I was just, you could ask Sam, my teammate who I was on party with, I was probably cussing. I was so mad after the restart, after sprint, and how it turned out with getting pushed off track multiple times. And then lap 1, getting someone spinning right into me and breaking my wing, not even 5 feet off my start spot.
Yeah.
Definitely not great. Not a great start, and kind of ruined the mood. But as time went on, I just figured I had a strategy in mind. It worked out, and I just kind of tried to stick to it and hope that my pace would shine through and that people would make mistakes. And I mean, it worked out in the end. I think to the softs, I was worried, but I saw my pace on the medium, so I figured the softs would work out, and it just happened that I got some good overtakes done.
Yeah, we touched upon that a little bit in the during the broadcast, that keeping your wits about yourself when adversity strikes. You need to kind of keep your focus, because you never know what's going to happen. And so hats off to you, really, because, I mean, you were dealt a bad hand twice tonight, and you came back and found yourself on the podium. So congratulations, great job, great race. And again, way to keep your wits about yourself and stay focused and fight your way through adversity and get back to the podium.
Thank you.
And so now we go to, oh, who is it? Asylum? I've never heard of this guy. Asylum, congratulations, buddy. You bring home P2 for New England, buddy. So describe your race for us. Well, yeah, I can recall you were ahead of the two McLarens, and I thought, oh my God, you need to keep. My comment was, you're not looking forward, you're looking back, because these guys are on your ass, and you need to make sure that you keep them there. However, at the same time, you need to keep going. Obviously, you need to keep your focus forward. You need to hit your marks and whatnot. So hats off to you, because I mean, you fought them for quite a while and you did a fantastic job, and you find yourself on the podium, so congratulations.
Asylum, it says your voice is not being shared. Someone in the chat says your voice is not being shared.
Well, I'm not going to repeat these questions.
Alright, you type out your response in the chat. Yeah, type out your response in the chat.
Oh,
all right.
There we go. It says always allow, so now we get the tail end of this. But
There.
yeah,
Well,
thanks,
there you
guys.
go. Yeah, you'll never be on the podium again. Kidding. All right, so Janet, congratulations, Janet.
Yay.
Well earned.
I don't think I
Wait.
won last year, did I? And so it's my first win in like over a season.
Yeah,
Has it been that long?
yeah, because
Yeah.
you won a lot when you won the championship, and then last season was just kind of
Yeah.
rough times.
Indeed.
So,
Rough times at the start tonight as well.
Yeah, true.
With the one shot. Started at the back for the sprints, clawed myself to fourth. Happy days. Set myself up nice for the race.
Bigger, you have a question for him?
No, I'm all good.
All right.
Yeah, I was just rolling a
Should be
joint.
fair.
People in the chat thought I was getting a pack of chips out, so.
Well, let's not let him go. Let's not let him go. I thought that maybe you had something for him. So, Janet, was there a point in time in the race where you felt like maybe you missed an opportunity? Maybe you should have not changed to the hards, or, I mean, you know, what was going through your mind during the race? What was that moment in time where maybe you questioned your decision?
Nah, the safety car, it was at the right time to go to the hards for that strategy anyway. So, but my mediums were less than 30%, and they would have got to lap 20 for me to go to softs. So it didn't necessarily the strategy, because everyone else would have pit behind me, have seen me going to the pits. No way would they have stopped outside, stopped on the mediums under a safety car.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense, so they all followed me in. So, and the hard stint was just get a gap, try not to get penalties, accrued 6, and luckily I had a big enough gap for it to not be affected.
Yeah, that's a great feeling to be in the lead, have a safety car, come into the pits, and everybody follows you. You come back out right where you were. It doesn't happen very often, but all right, Janet. Hey, congratulations, buddy. Great win.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations to Asylum and Brian as well. Good job, guys. I'm going to pass
Thanks.
it over to our Bigga here, our host.
All right, guys. Great race tonight. Excellent finish there with RC and Seye on the line. It was literally a drag race to the finish line. That was a hell of a finish. And good job. Obviously, sorry about the restart, Brian. I know your night probably could have gone even better had that not happened, but I just
heartbroken.
me.
I had some choice words that
Yeah.
I should not say.
It was unfortunate, but I think in a situation like that, we just have to wipe the slate and start over, because I didn't
God
know who
damn
the
it,
hell was
RC.
affected by it, and you know, like it was so crazy. Like if you watch the beginning of the stream, you're gonna hear me lose my damn mind about how quickly someone readied up. I
can't wait to
fired.
hear it.
I was fired up.
I guess my thing
Buzz
is,
couldn't breathe.
my big thing was like, had we immediately restarted and not done a full lap, I think I would have been better with it. But because
Yeah.
of the fact that people got then a lap of practice before going into it,
Yeah, I agree.
it's kind of what pissed me off the most. But
How are we going to get a hold of everybody in the span of a minute? Like half the guys are out there on the lap. They're not going to look at the Discord, right? So it's tough. But things like, I don't know. I mean, those decisions have to be made somewhere. So it's
Real
unfortunate.
quick, if
They're
I
always
can
gonna hurt
interject
someone.
here for
Yeah.
a second. Brian, again, great. I like hearing that. You were really pissed off, yet you persevered. You kind of kept your emotions in check, so to speak, and you fought your way back. Well, it's not easy to do that when you get really infuriated. You're pissed off. You really try to do a lot. So again, congratulate. Great job. Great job.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you as well. for Brian as well. 2 races in T1, 2 P3s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Good job, Brian.
Right, can ya?
Oh man, guys, don't make me cry.
Well, hopefully next week you can kind of get a better crack at it and not have a stupid restart rob you of a really good qualifying. But yeah, later this week we're gonna have 2 more sprint weekends, Tier 2, Tier 3, Wednesday night, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, respectively, and they will do one-shot sprint race and the 50% race, same format as tonight. And then next week we are off to, where are we going next week? I know it's in order. Imola next week, yes.
Imola.
All right, so we are off to Imola for the race next week. That will be 8 p.m. Monday night. You'll catch me and GP here. Hopefully we can get our streaming issues sorted out with the rest of the guys for Wednesday and Thursday. You can catch that on the YouTube channel here, and we should have full broadcast for you of both race sessions. So tune in then, and we'll catch you next week. Have a great night, everybody.